Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So we're going to be working on our sketch card for today, and I have everything pretty much cut out prior, but I wanted to do on my focal image this flower, and it's a two stamp flower. You have your solid stamp, which gives you like your background, and then they have sort of like an outline version of the same flower that you would stamp on top. And my first thought was to take the baby doll pink and the gold from the Delicata, use the pink as my base because it matched very close to the decorative paper we're going to be using. So I just wanted to stamp off once because I've never used this stamp set yet, or never used it yet. Really? Okay, and then once I stamped the base solid color, I'm just inking up the outline with the Delicata ink. And it's really hard to see, but it was really light. It wasn't standing out the way that I wanted it to. And it took me a minute to figure out which sentiment I wanted to use. And once I find it, which I want to say I wound up grabbing a stamp set that was off to my side, and I was like, it just fit perfectly right underneath that flower. I realized that the best thing for me to do would be to restamp it and use the black ink for the outline, so that way if you don't see the color behind it, you at least see the actual shape of the flower. So I'm just going to ink up the stamp set real quick. And once I stamp here, I realized, yeah, I think I'm going to go the other way. And I hold it all up, and it looks really pretty, but it just doesn't, all you're going to see is that little sentiment. And see, here it is with the black, and you can see how the flower is actually standing out. So I was happy with that. And that's the best part about die cuts, especially when you're using white paper. You stamp something, you don't like it, flip it over, you got a whole new piece. So right now we're just attaching these two pieces. I want to say I cut them down to something like 3, let's say 3 7/8 by either like 2.5 or 3. It just depends. I left a little bit of space in between just because I knew that I had the ribbon that was going to go in the middle. And I'm just taping it down with some Scotch tape to make sure it stays down. And then once I make sure everything is straightened, I couldn't decide if I wanted to do my pattern paper on top of the black or the cream. And I decided I kind of like the idea of it being on the black. So we're just going to tape it up real quick. And then we're going to attach those two pieces to the mats. And those I made 1 inch by 3 inches. And all I did was, the sheet that I was using was a 6x6 pad. So I just cut 1 inch off of one end and cut it in half, and then I had my two pieces. And what I was doing there with the nail file was just cleaning up my edges. Every once in a while on some of the papers, you ever get those little, like, they look like little fur balls on your paper. If you take your nail file and just, you know, very lightly file it, it takes it right off. So I'm just taping these two down just like our photo. And I had already pulled out 4 brads that I knew I was going to put into my 4 corners. So we're just going to take our piercing tool and attach the 2 brads at the top. And at first I was thinking, okay, so I'm putting black on top of this black paper here. It's really not going to show up, but in person, it's just a little bit of decoration. It doesn't have to be a major like standout piece, the brads, and I think it looks nice. I think if I did it again, I might use silver, but I wouldn't go too crazy. So I'm just attaching the sentiment piece with the foam tape, and then we're going to turn it over and I'm going to attach foam tape to the back. only because with the thickness of the ribbon, I know it's not going to lay perfectly on our card base. So I wanted to use the foam tape to lift it up, and then that way I wouldn't have to worry about it. So to finish putting this together, I'm just going to attach our cream colored mat, so that way what we've done here will stand off of our card base. And it took me just a little bit to fiddle with it. When you do 1/8 of an inch, I don't know, for some reason I usually have to do it at least once or twice, just because I just want to make sure it's even, and usually it's easier on the 1/4 inch edge to have your border around. It's usually easier. So we're going to lay down our finished piece on here, and really and truly that is the end of the card. Like, as far as the sketch went and what we had to do, it could have ended there, but then I was looking at it and I realized I wanted to add sequins. So I got some Pretty Pink Posh, and I think this is the Crystal Clear mix, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Sparkling Clear mix. And I wound up putting down, I think it was 7. I did 1 large one underneath the sentiment, and then 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Grabbed the multi-medium matte glue and my tweezers. And it's a good thing that I fast forward this, because it's been a while, since I've done the sequence, because I couldn't get the rhythm right for a second. I was like, wait, has it been that long? So we're just going to finish attaching our sequins. And then once they're attached, the card is finished. And I really do think it came out really, really nice. And I love this paper line. It's an old paper line from Prima that I had it was in my stash, but I just love the color combo. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this one, and try this one out. I like the super simple ones. It makes for a very easy crafting, and yet it still has a nice impact. Alright, you guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you with our next video.